Hello, how are y'all doing? Good afternoon. I'm here in Texas, so it is 12:30. I have some news to share with you, and of course, I'm here to answer any questions as long as it doesn't go into exact detail of your case. Let's see here. There's a lot to share, but I wanted to see what's the most important here. So, we've got several of y'all in. Please leave a comment here. Let me know where y'all from, or what type of case you may have a question about. Apparently this won't let me. So this is my second time using StreamYard. So please bear with me getting used to this, because apparently it won't let me comment back to you via StreamYard. I have to go to YouTube. But please know that we'll answer your questions. Okay, so first thing I want to share with you in the meantime is that we've got just a couple months ago, there's a re-emphasized rule about the 90-day rule. If people try to, or not try, but they do enter the U.S., let's say with a visitor visa or through ESTA, and the Department of State is saying that that essentially, if you enter the U.S. within 90, or when you enter the U.S. and then you, let's say, get married within the 90 days, then that's called misrepresentation. So the U.S. government takes that very strongly. I just wouldn't mess around with that. You know, we do have a lot of clients who entered the U.S. a long time ago, maybe several years ago, with a visitor visa, but just never got around to applying for status. Let's say now they're married. Now there is a legal way to obtain a resident status. But you know, I had just had recently one client this past or December. I can share some facts as long as I don't share the names, of course, but let's just say it's a hypothetical. They entered the U.S. a couple of years. He entered the U.S. a couple of years ago, but then got married the next day. So fortunately, they at least did not apply that quickly. They haven't applied. We just did that actually last week. So we're going to argue it's not within the 90 days. So I just would not get married within 90 days of your entry. Okay, so that's the main rule you need to remember. Some people get married within 90 days and also file for your application at that time, because it does create hey, Alma, good to see you. Thanks for saying hi. It does create a presumption of willful misrepresentation. So I know I repeat myself here because lawyers tend to do that, but you know, we just want to make sure that you don't do the wrong thing. And so if you know someone that could possibly considering this, please inform them. And I know it's kind of like a folktale. If you tell someone some kind of news and they may not believe you, just share our video. We greatly appreciate it. We're here to provide value to you, whether or not you're a client. But since we're on this topic of willful misrepresentation, I'd like to share some scenarios, some situations that other people have run into. For example, they have used a different name at the time they enter the U.S. So that could have been at the border when they're seeing a custom border protection officer, agent, or I mean, that's typically a situation when someone could have provided a different name, whether it's the first name, last name, it doesn't matter. The government as a whole will find this information. So when you do hire a lawyer, or if you go file on your own, you want to be truthful about that. You want to tell them up front if you use a different name. We call that an alias. What they're trying to get at, the government is trying to see if you use someone else's name, because you were, maybe that person had status, let's say resident status, or were you a citizen? So that's why you need to tell your lawyer all this information in advance, actually before you even hire them, so they have some strategy to do for you to fix that problem. Another situation is when, we have, for lawyers, it's hard to determine the truthfulness, the accuracy of a birth certificate, because to us they look the same. I mean, depending on the state or province of your birth country, it could look slightly different, but mostly it's only different because of the name and also the seal with the colors. But other than that, everything looks legit on our end. So please find out the truth if your parents filed your birth certificate. Fortunately, in Mexico, there is a website, or for Mexico, there is a website for us to check, now that we know this, of course, to verify if it was registered. The government is taking this very seriously. They're claiming that it is misrepresentation. In our opinion, it's not, but the government is trying to say that it is, because your birth certificate was not registered, which is not their fault, not the applicant's fault. It would be, if anyone, the parents. But if that's the case, then it's not willful misrepresentation on your end as the applicant. So just something to keep in mind. Don't give up hope. If you're in a situation like this, again, make sure to tell your lawyer, because there are a lot of people, we have very few clients that are in this kind of situation in general, but there are a lot of people, we've heard from other attorneys, that the clients just, for some reason, don't tell them the truth. Let's say, for example, the most common one, other than not sharing all other names used, but that they may have a crime. Because I know there's many attorneys don't file a FBI background check or request a FOIA for any kind of criminal history. It just depends. There are some situations where you would ask for a FOIA, especially if you had filed an application before and were denied, and you don't remember why you were denied. So, of course, attorneys will, at least our office will ask for a Freedom of Information Act. This is the old days, the traditional way of how journalists got their information. Every government agency has a process where you can ask for information. But that was, that's still a process, but that was, of course, before Twitter. So that's how most people get their news. Fortunately, someone we know has been blocked from Twitter and Facebook. And I won't go into full detail about that. Other news that we shared just a couple of days ago is the healthcare proclamation that President Trump signed back last year, October 2019. It seems forever ago already, but this is not exactly related to the public charge rule, but in a way it is. But I don't want you to get confused with the public charge rule, because it's really two separate issues. There's been a flood of lawsuits. Thankfully, there's a lot of lawsuits on this public charge rule in general. But anyway, just a month after this proclamation, November 2019, there's a group of minority organizations and nonprofit law firms that sued the Trump administration based on this healthcare proclamation, because it required applicants immigrating into America to obtain health insurance. You need to show proof that you have health insurance, or that you have the financial means, the resources to obtain health insurance in the foreseeable future. So to give you some more background is that the district court judge back in winter of last year, 2019, they had basically had entered into a preliminary injunction to stop this rule from proceeding, but it went up to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, the next level up, and they had reversed it. And so that was recently. That was December 31st, so just a couple weeks ago. So we just shared this information with you because there was a lot of news, not just immigration news, that's going on around DC. I'm sure you're aware of. which, by the way, let me know in the comments below if you're concerned about, civility in America. I feel like I like to think the greater good of people and believe that people won't actually commit violence. But I mean, I've been proven wrong, clearly. So I hope if you are somehow watching this and you are on the extreme side, please consider that, know that there's really no benefit in going to the Capitol buildings. Nothing's going to change. Whatever you're trying to change is not going to change. That's not the way to get change in politics. So this is actually really for everyone. The best way to get some kind of advocate for change, especially let's say for immigration, is to write to your congressman, your elected official. Even if you can't vote, that's the best way. You don't need to be a U.S. citizen or a resident to notify, write a letter, whether it's by email or old school letter, to notify your elected official of what you're advocating for. Especially now with, it's important at all times, but especially now with President-elect Biden taking an oath on the 20th. We don't want to take this opportunity for granted. When President Obama first got in office, that was in 2009, right? January 2009. And just 2 years later, the midterms elections, it turned over back to the Republicans. So that's pretty quick. And Obama spent most of his time advocating for the Affordable Care Act, which is completely understandable. That was very important, for better or worse. But now it's time to pass some kind of immigration reform. And so I do want to transition to talk about this. And that is important because there are a lot of things to change within the immigration process. I mean, aside for the asylum process that Trump created, where people had to wait in Mexico, and there are some expatriation agreements, what we'll discuss in a bit. But there's a lot of things that actually a Democratic president signed himself in 1996, April 1996. That was Bill Clinton. And he's the one that actually signed a bill agreeing to the harsh penalties of the, you might be aware of the 3-year, 10-year impermanent bar. Most people don't realize that those rules, that law was signed by a Democratic president. Of course, now the perception, at least, is that Democrats are for immigration. So I hope that is true in this sense, because Democrats have the control in Congress. Okay, as you know. I wanted to mention this earlier, that Department of Homeland Security announced, I believe a couple of weeks ago it is, that Guatemala, El Salvador, or Honduras have signed an asylum cooperation agreement with the U.S., forcing people who are asylum seekers to go back to those countries. They wouldn't go back to that country that they were born in, but this, let's say, for example, just to keep this as a simple explanation as possible, that let's say El Salvadorian, if they're fleeing El Salvador, they'll be sent to a different country, Honduras, for example, which I'm just reading the notes here. Looks like it's just basically a press release. There's not much information about it, but it's just stating that they're going to work to, all three countries and the U.S. are going to work together and, quote unquote, pledge to promote economic prosperity, regional security, and stability in democratic institutions and the protection of human rights. But keep in mind, this agreement was signed when it was under the purported authority of the acting Secretary of Chadwick, which, by the way, he resigned from cabinet position, I believe, yesterday. So I don't believe, even if he wanted to invoke the 25th Amendment, there could be an argument that he didn't even have authority. He wouldn't have authority to do that. So anyways, a lot of the lawsuits that were turned up against it went against the government was because of the basis that Chad Wolf was not didn't have the proper authority. He was not under the chain of command. He skipped a couple people to get into his current position. So that's something to keep in mind. Also something for you to know, I'm just sharing a lot of information. There's a lot to share. Is that, back to about notifying your elected officials. If you need help with that, if there's something that you are concerned about, at least on the immigration side, I'm happy to help with any type of petition or your letter to Congress. There's a lot of causes, let's say education, for example. But I can share the links on that in the description below after this call. What I was saying is that we can't assume that President Biden will do everything that we want him to do, because clearly that definitely did not happen under President Clinton. It semi-happened under President Obama. He did provide us at least two good things, by the way, and that was the DACA program, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, and also the provisional waiver, Family Unity Waiver, which is a great opportunity for me to mention. We have a program, never actually ever promoted this, but we have a program where we help our customers. These people would not be considered a client because this is not attorney-client relationship. This is a program to help applicants write their support letter. I mean, we don't write it, but we give suggestions. We provide our instructional guide. This is available to anyone in the public that's going through a waiver process, let's say a 601A form, or 601 if the applicant, the immigrant, is outside the US, because we understand everyone's financial budget is different, especially in this COVID times, and it's I believe 6.2 or 6 point something unemployment rate right now. So we create this program to help you with the most critical part of the case, and that's to help guide you in creating a stronger waiver support letter. Or if it's just a marriage case in general that you believe you need an affidavit or declaration, we do provide that assistance, because it's not as simple as just writing, oh, I love my spouse, and that's the reason why he or she should stay here. That is definitely not going to fly. I've seen some cases where people come to us as a second lawyer, and I looked at the previous file, and I thought, my goodness, I would not have paid this attorney at all. It's not that we write the letter at all. It's really to guide you from A to Z on the topics that you should discuss, share in your letter that we believe are critical. And the government can only give you so much information in terms of the instructional guide or their instruction sheet, but they're not going to tell you how to write a letter, or they're not going to give you feedback. So this is what this program is for. We have limited spots every month because we want to provide customized, catered, detailed attention to our customers. So we'll post the website in the description below later today, so you'll have more information. And also, if you want our free guide about it, we have free 5 tips on how to write your heart support letter. And this also can include for applicants who are applying to the fiancé visa. I know there's a lot of our fans on the YouTube, on our Green Card Guys TV channel, that have commented about the fiancé visa. So if you have not started the fiancé visa process, the petition, this is a great opportunity to join a program, because for fiancé visa applications, if you're not aware, you have to prepare a statement of intent to marry. But it's not similar to like what I mentioned earlier. It's not just about, oh, I love my fiance. That's not enough. You have to, and it's not as simple as saying, I'm going to get married with my fiance within a 90-day period upon entry. you definitely have to write that, but there's more information you need to provide. So anyway, we have different pricing, customized pricing, depending on the program that you select. Now back to the news. If you have a question, please comment in the box below. I'd love to answer it. Don't worry, next time I will figure out how to send you the link so we can do an actual Q&A. Okay, so let's see what else to share here. The most recent news. There is a lot of things going on. Sorry, back about the healthcare proclamation. So I have some clients, for example, we just got approval of the petition I-130, and now they're sponsor their, let's say, sibling or grandparent. Not grandparent. Their parent who are elderly, and so you need to get health insurance. I know it appears difficult to obtain one, to pay for one coverage, but we do have a list of health insurance brokers. And I say brokers because they'll find the best available plan that's catered for your loved one, your family member, because of course it's different pricing, but they're not tied to one specific healthcare provider, let's say like Blue Cross or Aetna. They're gonna find what you want, So let's say you just want a cost-effective plan just for now, for the purpose of immigration. You can always change it in the future. So anyway, we'll have a link down below. So if you enter your email, you will get our free list of health insurance brokers. Just like when I refer other attorneys who practice a different area of law, let's say it's like criminal defense, you need to do your own due diligence. These are people that we trust, and even though we trust them, you may not. So everyone has different personality. Hey, what's up, Fortnite? Thanks for joining. But anyway, you need to pick someone that you're comfortable with. Everyone's personality is different. Everyone communicates in a different way, just like a relationship. So not that you talk to them every day, but if you need a plan as soon as possible, you need to mention that to your broker. And people are just people in general organize in a different way. So, all right, let us know where you're based out of. Love to know where our fans are coming out or living. So let me know, are you relieved that President-elect Biden is going to take the oath on January 20th? I can tell you, as an immigration lawyer, I am, and among other attorneys in general, not just immigration attorneys, it's been a whirlwind. So we are very excited for a new president. It will provide some, I guess we can say simply, leadership and stability. I sure hope so. One other bit of news is that the Supreme Court just took up the case. They've agreed to take up the case from appellate level about TPS. So for people who have valid TPS currently, there is a possibility that you can apply for adjustment. That is possible in just 2 different circuits. Let's see if I have it here. I believe it's the 3rd Circuit and possibly the 9th Circuit. We'll provide that information down below as well, so you know which states are within those circuits where the current law is that you can apply for adjustment, meaning for residency based on a TPS. And but anyway, the law is different depending on the circuit that you live in. For us in Texas, we're in the 5th Circuit. So unfortunately, the 5th Circuit does not agree that TPS constitutes equates to legal entry. So right now, if you're out of the Fifth Circuit, Texas, Louisiana, let me verify this. Yeah, Mississippi, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi. If you're out of those states, live in those states, and you have TPS, do not apply for adjustment unless you have some other means, like you have something called 245I. You had someone petition for you, file a petition I-130 or I-140 before April 2001, and among other requirements, of course. So we just have about 5 minutes left, 4 minutes. If you have any questions, please post it in the comment box or just say hello. Let us know where you're living. Let's see here. I know y'all are shy. We're going to make some videos. Even if I can't answer it right now, we're going to create some video content to answer your question. Because I'm sure even if you have the question, many others will have the same question. So don't be shy. This is the best way to comment below is the best way to let us know what your question is. Otherwise, the other way is to schedule a consultation with our office, and we'll have that website down below as well. And here's our information. We have a new website. Please check it out. It's called greencardguys.com. And we also have a Facebook group. It's called Immigrant Guide and Support Living America. It's a community where you can share your successes and challenges of the process in general. And also, if you're not quite, if you haven't lived here in the US not too long and you're thinking about moving to a different area of the country, let's say like New Yorkers moving to Florida for some reason with a warmer climate, there is information in that group. There'll be more information almost every day. So, and also, by the way, Texas does not have state income tax, but there is property tax. So keep in mind, don't get completely enticed by the no state income tax. You got to know what else we have to pay for. Let's see, anything else to share? Oh, there's plenty. I don't think I have enough time to go into full detail though. There are some updates with the Ciudad Juarez for consular processing. They have resumed interviews. So we'll have an update, a different video about that, and maybe tomorrow actually, because I know many of y'all watching want to know if your consulate is open or not. We just talked about that last week. So it's going to continually update. We check every week for our clients. So if you're wondering too, we do in those specific videos, we do have the website so where you can check yourself. But if you can't find the link, we're happy to help you. Just comment in one of the videos and our team will respond back if what the current situation is at the U.S. consulate in your country. I got 1 minute left. So one last thing is that because of the pandemic, the USCIS has been beneficial, been friendly in this situation. Number one, they allow electronic signature. Or I'm sorry, still have to sign it with the wet ink, but you can scan it to your attorney, for example. So you don't have to actually mail it to your attorney. So that saves a step. And also they extended deadlines. So if you have a deadline for request for evidence or for notice of intent to deny, which by the way, we do provide service to respond with your evidence. We really believe we do excel at this situation because we do have a system where where we contact you every week, if not every day, for information. We could provide you a checklist of what you need to provide. So we do have customized fee arrangement for that. But anyway, yes, if you did receive one of those type of documents, denial letter, you do normally have 30 days to respond, or even our fee, I'm sorry, is 87 days. But whatever the deadline is, the original deadline, you'll have an additional 60 days. So we enter that into the system for a calendar for our clients. Internally, we have a 30-day deadline, 60-day deadline, and then, of course, we mail it out at the latest 1 week before the second month after your deadline. So there is a restriction in terms of what cases this applies to. We do have a video about it, so check it out. It goes into more detail. So I just went a little over 30 minutes. I want to thank you for your time. Please check it out. Stay tuned. We'll be on every Tuesday at least at 12:30. The time could change if we have a court hearing or something like that. So we'll update you in the community board, okay? And we'll talk to you soon. Thank you very much. Have a good day.